this isn't just a journey of self-development, it's a journey of self-development that has a positive impact on the world around us. Hello, friends, and welcome back to our journey of self-awareness. I'm Todo-san Harmon. Actually, my real name is Todd, but in Japan, everyone calls me Todo-san. It's interesting how all the names and proper nouns often end up in a vowel in Japan, so that hot dogs become hot dogu and they eat sandwiches for lunch. And in my case, I became Todo-san, and it stuck with me long enough that I decided to go with it. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about why I decided to start this channel. And before I do, perhaps I can say a few things about how I'm planning to organize the channel. Initially, we came out with the video on how to become a good and better person, which introduced 7 universal virtues that are found in virtually every major religious tradition around the world. I did that because they're not only worthy virtues to emulate and incorporate into one's life, but we can set them as concrete goals, and then use them as benchmarks to kind of measure our progress on the path as we progress along. So I think that they can be very useful. There are things that self-aware people will manifest all of these virtues naturally as a matter of course, but the awakened masters throughout time have always suggested that people move toward these goals and set them as aspirations and aspire toward them in their daily lives as a way of kind of greasing the skids toward an awakening. So we can use these to help guide us on our journey, and they'd be very profitable to do so. And later on in the series of videos, we'll introduce specific practices that we can use to incorporate these virtues into our daily life and move toward them in a more determined fashion. The next kind of theme that I'm using to organize the channel will be foundational mental attitudes and kind of motives that we can use to help propel us along the journey. And again, you'll see a recurring pattern in these videos because they all tend to emphasize very similar things. But those are also those common aspects that you'll see resurfacing are things that we can use in daily practices to help move us along and propel us along this path of self-awareness. Then later on, as I mentioned, we'll talk about specific daily practices that we can integrate into our daily lives to make very steady progress on the path. And then finally, I will go into an introduction and exploration of deeper topics, kind of more advanced topics that we will get into right away, but we'll reserve those for later. So why did I start this channel? Well, there are so many benefits to making a committed and a determined effort to advance along a journey to self-awareness that are benefits for the individual, of course, but moreover, I believe that we're all part of one humanity. We're all part of the fabric of life in the universe, and that when one individual makes steady progress on a journey of personal growth, it doesn't just benefit them, it benefits everyone around them, and it has ripple effects that can permeate far beyond our probably our ability to comprehend or imagine. So, for example, when a person makes compassion a foundational cornerstone of their life and uses it in a very determined fashion to organize their activities, and then selflessly cares for others with warm-hearted loving kindness, it helps them in ways that they can't possibly comprehend, but it also has great effects on the world around them. So this isn't just a journey of self-development, it's a journey of self-development that has a positive impact on the world around us and on others. And it's not just from setting an example for others, it affects people more deeply than they realize on a conscious level. I'm absolutely convinced of this. So why do we need to improve our society and our country and our world? Because we're in I think, very serious trouble. The United States has the highest rates of mental illness, anxiety, depression, and suicidality of any industrialized nation. We're way beyond many of the other industrialized nations in our terms of prevalence and incidence of major mental illness. And I mean debilitating major mental illnesses that prevent people from carrying out their daily lives and achieving their tasks on a daily basis. Um, Among adolescents, the suicide rate is up 30% in just the last few years. It's gotten to such an extent now that the American Academy of Pediatrics has declared a mental health emergency for adolescents in the United States. So, also in the United States, we have declining, among all the industrialized nations of the world, we're the only one to have a declining life expectancy. It's been stagnant for quite a while now, but it's now actually declining at a fairly rapid rate. And this is due largely to what the economists call diseases of despair or deaths of despair, alcoholism, alcoholic liver disease, substance abuse and overdoses, and suicide are the principal causes. And among adolescents, of course, next to accidents, suicide and drug overdoses and gun violence are the principal causes of death for adolescents in the United States. Gun violence is something else. It's hardly a week goes by that we don't hear of mass murders, at least one every week in the United States, which is something you don't find elsewhere in the world. So I think that these kind of social problems need to be addressed on the collective level, of course, but we need to address them on the individual level too. Because when a person becomes a courageous and fearless truth seeker who's committed to a path of self-development and self-exploration and self-improvement and adopts the kind of determined and courageous heart of a tiger, these are and begins to adopt and acquire the virtues that we've discussed. These are the things that will protect them from the causes of mental illness. Of course, so many of the major mental illnesses in the United States are rooted in early childhood development and childhood trauma and early childhood toxic stress. And many people are carrying emotional baggage around with them that is affecting their behavior. They're not usually consciously aware of these emotional issues. They might be under the surface, but anyone who progresses far enough on a path of personal development will necessarily have to deal with issues from their past that they're carrying with them and resolve them. It's just inescapable. So the other thing, of course, which concerns me is the amount of disinformation and misinformation in the media landscape, which is resulting in a great deal of political paralyzation in the United States. Polarization, paralyzing polarization. That's a good way of putting it. And we need far more people who are committed to critical thinking and who are committed to seeking the truth and who will not stand for lies being spread in the public realm. Committed truth seekers are people who end up becoming inoculated against disinformation, fake news, and deliberate attempts to misinform the public, which are rife now. They're common, so common. And it's going to become worse with the introduction of AI, of course, and the ability to produce deep fakes, what they're calling deep fakes. People are going to have to become very, very savvy media consumers and be on particular guard for the introduction of false memes in our discourse. So these are some of the reasons why I feel it's just so important for everyone to become committed to a path of self-awareness and to improve themselves every day as a part of their lives. So, of course, people who are on the path become resilient to so many of the challenges that knock other people down and thwart their progress and keep them from advancing on a path of awareness. So, I hope that the videos I'm producing are helpful. Please spread the word. Let's try to get as many people as we can involved in this as a movement, as a part of a little social movement of determined people who are committed to their own self-improvement and the improvement of those around them. Have a positive impact on everybody around us. That's our goal. So I just thought that while I'm ending the video, I'm going to turn the camera around so you can see this idyllic setting that I'm in. This is, I'm here in the Pacific Northwest, and I'm in one of the local parks. I'll try to turn the camera slowly so that it doesn't, so that you can see better. There's the lake. It's such a beautiful setting. And the swimming area down below there. Of course, this summer there'll be so many happy children running around and screaming and yelling with glee. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful little park, a place. I live in a gorgeous area here in the Pacific Northwest. We're so blessed in the summertime with such fantastic weather, beautiful greenery, green trees, and the evergreens. So thank you again for joining me, and I'm wishing you all the very best on your journey to self-awareness. See you next time. Bye-bye.